Welcome, everybody, to the JSP Podcast. This is Ep.6. I'm your host, Dante Knox. If you don't know me, you should get to know me. This episode is going to be a little emotional for me. That's why I got one of these, because I'm going to try to relax as much as I can. But give you guys a round of applause for making another week. This is to you. The week was not easy. It was everything but. But if it was like that for me, I can only assume it was like that for you too. Man, oh man. Condolences to the family members that lost anybody in these recent events. Philadelphia. And I don't know why it's eluded me at the moment. The helicopter that collided with the American airline. It's just condolences to your family, because I can't imagine what you guys are actually going through. So with that said, I went live a little bit earlier, and I was going over the audio that I heard from the plane crash in Philadelphia, and it alarmed me because it sounded like, for me, that somebody else was inside of the cockpit that was trying to tell the pilot what to do. It was just some confusion. It sounded like there's some type of a struggle going on in the cockpit where the audio recording was being recorded. But for now, I'm going to start talking about causes and effects of certain things. And I had to make sure I wrote a few things down so I did not forget, because there's some serious situations going on in the U.S., and I want to address a few of them. And it's going to be relatively short, but let's go ahead and get right on into it. If you guys, first things first, share the live. If you want to join the live, you have to do it via email. Send me an email. The ticker should show you right where it's at, jerseySouthProductions@gmail.com. Just send an email saying I'd like to join. I'll send you the link, and I can pull you in, and you can say your piece if you would like to. So if you would like to join the live, just make sure you follow those directions. Email me, and I will send you a link to join. You can use your phone. If you have a streaming setup, all the better. But yeah. Let's start with the fact that Donald Trump's our president again. I don't know how in the actual fuck that happened. Actually, I do know how it happened. I just don't know why it happened. There's a thing that he did, taking away the whole DEI inclusion, and I understand why they would feel as though that needs to happen. You don't want anyone to be discriminated against based on sex, religion, color of skin, etc. But the way this world is set up, let me explain to you how this world is set up. This world is set up, or at least this United States is set up, to take advantage of minorities and of people of color and of people of different religions and sexual orientations. That's how it's always been. So when I hear slogans like "Make America Great Again," what that says to me is people want it to be reverted back to a time where minorities had little to no say. Everything was governed by the white man, not even white women. The white man had all of the say across the board: corporate, You talk about, people that work in blue collar, white collar work, politics, law, no matter what you looked at, everything was governed by a white man. Now, why exactly do people feel like that is an okay time period to go back to? Again, mind you, I'm here to just show obvious discrepancies in everybody's case that is supporting this guy. I don't understand how, again, we pick somebody that's supposedly a good business person. I don't know how people say that, but supposedly, even if that was the case, like truthfully, money means more than morals now. I'll take bad policy. I'll take bad policy over a bad person all day, any day of the week. Give me a person that's got better morals and terrible policy than somebody that has good policy but is a terrible person, because there's no way you're going to be able to keep that character flaw from bleeding out into how you live, how you govern, how you lead. It's going to show. How you feel about certain things is gonna show if you are a terrible person. Now, I'm talking about terrible person in terms of you don't think it's wrong to discriminate against somebody because of anything other than their merit. Everybody's talking about merit now when you say anything about this shit being wrong, because this shit is just wrong. Now, I have a few clips loaded up. Video clips, by the way. Because they're gonna try to do to us. We say one thing, they immediately think the other, which is another issue that we'll get to another day. But I have a couple clips loaded up just to show a little bit of a context of what I mean by whole thing is hypocritical. How are you going to be having an issue with the DEI program when we've lived a certain way where we were never respected and we were never represented in any part of the legislation of this country? We had to let everyone know that, hey, we matter too, our voice matters. And how are you going to have a Grammy or a Golden Globe if none of the people picking it are black? White people don't know our culture enough to be able to gauge its performance or have a say in what we should or shouldn't be doing. Representation actually matters so damn much in the TV we watch, the cartoons, and seeing someone that looks like you know that they're going to be able to relate to you on a different level, and they're going to know what you're going through. White people really don't know what black people are going through. They don't know what's important to us. At least the ones that are in these positions that think that the only reason people have these jobs are because of the DEI inclusion. That DEI inclusion makes it so that you can't forget about the minorities, because if it was up to the original people that started whatever system that we're even talking about, they would have never included anyone of color, anyone of any kind of diverse background, because it was already all white to begin with, which for some reason people were a lot more comfortable with not including everybody about, or everyone. They're not including everyone in the situation. in the conversation. Everyone's not at the table being able to vouch for themselves. Imagine imagine somebody from the next state over, never been to your house, don't know how you're living, don't know how you're making the money to get to keep your house afloat, to take care of your family. Imagine a person having the power to dictate any and everything inside of your house, what goes on, the food you eat, who goes in and out, when you're supposed to be in. Imagine someone being able to govern your own house. Has nothing to do with what's going on there, doesn't know what's going on there, never tried to figure it out, but they have say over everything that actually happens in your house. Can you imagine having no say over your life, over the job you're at? So if you're going to take something like that away, where's the balance to the check? Because it was set in place in the beginning because of the lack of inclusion that was already going on. So you guys are okay with lack of inclusion. So what you're saying without saying is they pretty much don't respect our intellect. They feel as though it's lesser than. If we were all viewed as equal, I would be all for it. But we were never viewed as equals, which is why it had to be put in place in the first place. So to take it away, that implies that we're at a state where we see each other as equals. That's obviously not the case with how we're being treated, how we're being policed, how we're being talked about, and our history is not even respected. The fact that there was an atrocity called slavery where we know the entire nation was literally built with the hands of people that were enslaved, treated terribly, horribly, gruesomely. We know they didn't get compensated for anything they did. They were just made to have to do it. It was legal. So not only did European conquerors try to come over, well, not try, they come over, try to eradicate a whole demographic of people. Then they try to make sure that it can't happen again to them. It's the hypocrisy is just the hypocrisy is disgusting. So the hell with the 400 something years of free labor that they got up out of the minorities, not just our people, but predominantly black people. And you're gonna tell me that I should just forget about it? Nigga, forget about it? I don't know if I can forget about something like that. Hmm. Promised 40 acres and a mule. I was a lie. So what do you expect people like me to think when you don't want to give us any reparations of any sort? No, oh yeah, that was bad for a long time. Can you imagine 400 years of inheritance? 400 years of knowledge actually being able to be passed down? 400 years of respecting the inventions and not taking them and taking credit for them? I don't think you really could grasp how important that is. The fact that there were whole generations of people that were lost. No one was taking account for them, misnamed. There's so many people. There were so many black people on those boats. They weren't keeping logs there. Everybody. We can't even go back past a certain point of our lineage because the paper trail is just not there because they didn't care about documenting where they took my people from. But that doesn't mean anything right now. Let me get to some of these clips real quick because how I feel about it, it matters. But there's an actuality to what's going on that you start realizing. You bring these points up, and anybody that supports Trump, they can't answer the question, so they try to deflect this. They they try to deflect, and all we're doing is just give me an answer to this question. When you say "Make America Great Again," what time period are you talking about? When you say you don't need DEI anymore, I'm like, okay, so we're at a point where we're treating everybody equal. So a black person with a master's degree, a black woman with a master's degree, who's, by the way, black women are the most highly educated, or the most educated, I should say, the most educated people in the United States because they have the most degrees. Literally have the most degrees. So if DEI inclusion is being taken out, I should see a lot more black women in some of these corporate positions. I should see a lot more black women in some of these management positions. And not just black women, women of color, women of all diversities, all ethnicities, right? That's what I should see because the most educated people in this country are black women. Shout out to black women. That's for y'all. Y'all did that shit. Y'all did that shit. Because we had to educate ourselves. There was a point in time where it was illegal for us to learn things like how to write. But you want me to forget about that to the point where they want to take out teaching it in school? You know, Wes, that's so convenient. If somebody did something so heinous, so disgusting, so vile, filthy, if somebody did that, and they not only did it, they did that shit for hundreds of years. It's really convenient that you want to not talk about that anymore. Oh, guys, it makes me feel uncomfortable. How uncomfortable was my people naked, chained up to each other, coming across on these boats? Disease, we dying. They taking pictures of us at the picnic while we hanging from the tree. And y'all smiling in these pictures. I should say, not y'all, they, excuse me, they, but that they can be traced through the blood of the people that are standing right now in front of my face. So that's the thing I need everyone to remember. That can't be forgotten. All right. So let's get to these clips. The first clip that I'm going to show you, okay, what is the DEI? It's just a rough explanation of what it is because some people can explain it a little bit better than I can. So we're going to go to it now. All right.
Taxes was waiting and wondering.
Are appointing diversity officers Every industry these days is using the term DEI to explain why they are appointing diversity officers, carrying out diversity training, and discussing ways to be more inclusive. But what really is DEI, and why is it necessary? DEI is short for diversity, equity, and inclusion. Here's a breakdown. Diversity is ensuring the representation of all identifiers across races, gender identities, sexual orientations, religions, political beliefs, socioeconomic statuses, and more. Equity is the fair treatment of all previously stated identifiers, making sure every person in the environment has the same opportunities, resources, and support. Inclusion is
All right, so that's more or less the only thing I really wanted you to hear from that clip. It's not saying that knowing what you're doing and what you're doing is not important. But what's also as equally important is that everyone that's in that group, whichever group we're talking about, whatever job we're talking about or position, everyone and every type of person on the face of the earth in our country that makes up the whole should be included in those groups. And if the overseers of those groups have not chosen to diversify, there's it says something about the people. It's not that you shouldn't be able to hire based off just merit alone. If we were able to do that and include everybody, we wouldn't have needed it in the first place, is what I'm saying here. And that's the only thing that I'm saying, me personally. So I get you have to understand why people are upset about this is because there are people that were never included and that would never be included if the people in power had the choice to not have to include them. Not sure if I can explain that one any better than that. All right, so this next clip that I'm going to show is going to be um, another one of my points. Now, people are talking about this immigration and ICE. It's absolutely wrong to be taking people that deserve to be here more than almost anybody that's standing in this country right now, especially anybody that doesn't have any melanin in their skin. They deserve to be here a lot more than we do. Now, everybody's not a criminal. Any criminal, period, should be prosecuted, right? Right? Since we're talking about this equal thing and we're talking about merit, being held accountable, accountability. Let's talk about accountability. So, accountability means something happens, you own up to the part that you played in it. No matter how bad that part is, you own up to it and you admit that that was wrong. You also should more or less try and make sure that doesn't happen again. That'll show true sorrow. I'm sorry. I'm going to make sure that don't happen again, right? So you mean to tell me you're worried about people being here that are criminals and we have a criminal as a president to have the amount of charges he had against him and for them to drop all of them. It wasn't because it wasn't true. It's because they wanted Donald Trump to be able to run for president. If that's not the very definition of corrupt, I don't know what corrupt means then. If you can fire everybody that's actually qualified, had experience in the fields that they had experience in, if you could fire all of those people and then just put your buddies in those places, like, you could do this, and you could do this. Hey, Eli, you can go ahead. You just go ahead and run this. If you could just do that, this whole thing was messed up from the jump. You see, now we're starting to see how messed up the system really was. Always. It's always been like this. It's never been equal. It's never been just. It's always been corrupt. Somebody's always had an agenda. So this next clip I'm going to show you is one of the people that Donald Trump pardoned and how this guy is acting against law enforcement on a traffic stop. Look what happened, guys. Unbelievable.
Attention retirees, if you're willing to be at your
Oh,
computer
YouTube.
from 9 a.m. to 10:45 a.m.
Jasper County. Huddle is accused of resisting arrest and new at 5, an Indiana man recently pardoned by President Trump for storming the Capitol on January 6 has been shot and killed by a sheriff's deputy. Matthew Huddle was shot after a traffic stop in Jasper County. Huddle is accused of resisting arrest and struggling with a deputy who was attempting to arrest him. This led to a deputy shooting and killing Huddle. Federal sources confirmed with Fox 59 that Huddle was recently pardoned by President Trump. He and his uncle, Dale Huddle, were arrested for taking part in the January 6 riot.
All right, so do you understand how wild that is? You want to talk about letting criminals go and roam free? You got somebody that was part of the riot you incited. You let this guy just clean off, even though the type of people that were at the riot, they like, man, if you're ready to do something like that because Donald Trump told you to, bro, you can't be a you can't. And this person does this off of a traffic stop. You wrestling around with police. Like, why are you're wrestling around with look? But you're worried about the wrong people, my friend. Y'all are worried about the wrong things, and these are obvious things going on. It's obvious. But hey, you can when was America ever that great? It was never great for us. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not. Somebody has to let me know something that I don't know because I'm not getting it, and I'm just talking from a factual standpoint. If you run a business to the point where you got so much debt, you have to file bankruptcy every time, multiple businesses all the time, never get a business in the black. How good of a business person are you really? Isn't that common sense? You don't have to have a master's degree to deduce that from the facts. If you are a fact person, but we know Trump supporters are not fact people. They're very emotional people. Emotions run the country right now, and this dude's volatile. Like he's obviously not in his right mind. So Biden, something was going on with him, and he was out of it. Something's been going on with Trump. I'm sure somebody can characterize him as a few different things in the psych world. Let's just say that what he could be categorized very negative connotations to all of the things he could be classified as, but something's not quite right in his mind if he thinks how he's acting is all right. The things that he's set into place soon as he gets into office are morally sound, even on a political standpoint. Why would you're just gonna tariff the shit out of everyone around you? You want to make enemies out of everyone on the planet. Why would you want to do that? Why would you want to make enemies of everybody on the planet, my dude? I just don't get why you would want to do that. Of all things to do, why make enemies of everyone? It's just I just don't get why you want to do that. And that's what he's doing. Um this guy's putting tariffs on like everything. For what reason? I don't know. And I'm going to show you. Oh man. Oh man. Yeah, I'm going to show you guys what could possibly happen. Well, it's going to happen. There's no way you're going to raise prices on things, and it's not going to have a direct effect. There's no way. All
The
right.
hottest models on OnlyFans. Well, guess what? These ones that you see right now, they're not even real.
Oh,
and
Jesus.
that's
into the growing rift in relationships to the north and south, but that could change.
All right.
This new invisible wall of tariffs being built by Donald Trump could act as a barrier for millions of American families.
There could be some temporary short-term disruption, and people will understand that.
It was a stunning admission that
Who understand that? I don't understand that.
there would be consequences to tying border security issues to trade. And now a tariff on the nearly $1 trillion worth of imports from Canada and Mexico will do the exact opposite of what Trump campaigned on.
The price of household goods will start to plummet. Groceries and rent will no longer break your budgets.
We calculate 1.2% increase in average prices. And that may sound small, but hey, inflation is a big story. Inflation is why the Fed will cut its interest rates.
That isn't something that's being sold to the American public, who instead have been told a tale of a time no one remembers.
We were at our richest from 1870 to 1913. That's when we were a tariff country.
Did y'all hear? Man, look. We're going to go back and run. We're going to run back the years he was talking about. What did he just say? Why would he say that?
To the American public, who instead have been told a tale of a time no one remembers.
We were at our richest from 1870 to 1913. That's when we were a tariff country. And then they went to an income tax concept, and how did that work out?
Back then, tariffs on dutiable imports to the U.S. reached as high as 50% before free trade policies were embraced. It's now at risk and could result in potential disruptions to the global economy.
25% is a very big number, and so the fallout is not going to be trivial.
Hours ahead of the tariff deadline, concerns were voiced, including from the National Association of Home Builders, warning of a potential slowdown in domestic home construction, impacting housing affordability. The burgeoning trade war was far from mind at Trump's Florida golf course, where he started his Saturday.
Man, I'm telling y'all now, there are checks and balances to presidents like this. So whether you voted for him and now you're obviously saying, what the hell did I do? Because if you're not, if you're not like, what the hell is going on? Like something's not right with your mind. So I'm just telling you, there are checks and balances to everything. So please find out what he's doing when he's doing it and see what we can do about it, and make sure that your voice is heard, and make sure you hit the right people up. Make sure you know your lines of government. I'm going to go over that on the next JSP Podcast episode. We're going to see what we can do, the levels of legislation, the people to reach out to. We're going to do research and find out the numbers and the names of all of these people, and make sure everyone is informed about what we can do in situations where the president's out of their fucking mind. 25% increase is going to affect everything around. It's not, man. He talking about taking shit back to 1870 anything. Are you out of your fucking mind? So we're going backwards. Oh my God. I don't know what to say to that other than y'all cool. Y'all, whose man's is this? Oh man. I think I got one more clip for you guys. Let me see. Where are we at? No, not that one. No. Let's see. Not that one. No, that's Don Michael. Shout out to Don Michael. It's my guy. I was watching one of his videos earlier. What is well, I don't know. Maybe not. But either way, I'd like to keep it factual as possible, but things they don't make sense. So, being that we're at the state that we're at, we have no other option but to move forward now. But as we move forward, we have to make sure we move forward accordingly, given all of the facts that are around us at the moment. And so I would love to know how people feel about it, regardless if you may think I want to hear it or not. I would love to hear your opinion about what's going on around this. I told you guys my theory about what's going on with at least the one plane. The other one, I feel as though it was just complete, utter negligence of the person or people flying the helicopter. Being that they're military personnel, they absolutely should have been able to maneuver around any kind of obstacle that needed to be, or you shouldn't be inside of a helicopter, period. Whether they were wearing night vision goggles or not. It's just a little weird for me that that's not like it should have been like a typical training exercise. Avoid the commercial airplane. But yeah, whether there was enough people staffed because of the firings of the FAA, we all know. He fired way too many people way too fast, and they were obviously understaffed to be having to navigate and coordinate on the same level with half the staff is not smart to do, no matter who you are as a president. So we have to realize wrong is wrong, no matter who does it. And when they do it, just take accountability. Nobody's perfect. The terrorists are stupid. They make no sense. The dissolving of the DEI situation that sends the wrong message, especially when reparations aren't respected. You want to take away Black history from being taught a certain way, the way it should be taught, the way it actually was, but not only the negatives, but how much good and positive things that we did, the inventions that we made, the obstacles we overcome. Like, yeah, y'all don't want to talk about it. I wouldn't want to talk about it either. If my grandfather had, we're not going to go into it. Because you know where I'm going. And there are a lot of good people in my life that feel the same way that I do about that. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that it's not the end and we can do something about bad policy. So let's make sure we stick together. We have to come together. And there's a lot of people that feel the same exact way that you do. So remember, you're not alone in how you feel. And it does matter. Your voice does matter. And let's make sure we go through the proper channels to make sure, nothing else is affected, or there are not too many things that we have power to control are affected that are going to just destroy other people's lives like it's already starting to do. And yeah, man, I appreciate y'all, like, for real. I don't even like talking politics too much, really. I'd rather not, but it's just, it's too much going on to not talk about, It's like too much not to talk about. And like I said, there's a lot of good people with no melanin in their skin that love me like a brother. So like a son, help people that helped raise me. That would have been right there on the front lines with me, and will be right now. But the people that don't understand what's going on, just don't say nothing to me. Just keep your mouth quiet. Just don't say anything. Don't make it worse. Please don't make it worse. Because there's a truth behind what we're saying. You cannot ignore it. If you guys want everybody to be equal, then let's be equal then. But you have to show that we're equal, Let's show that you're equal. Show that we're equal. And don't Don't act like the stuff we've been through ain't nothing. Because, like I said, we built this motherfucker. And y'all lucky we don't want revenge. But the way shit going, revenge sounds real fucking good right now. But we're not there yet. We're not quite there yet. Not quite. But we real close. But it's Dante Knox. I'ma holla at y'all. Yep. Till next time.